Welcome to Season 2 of the Inspectations podcast, hosted by Justin Starberg, CEO of the Aebli Group. In business, as in life, one of the most difficult tasks a leader must do is find a way to manage expectations. Create expectations that are too high, and you will be constantly looked at as a failure. Create expectations that are too low, and your leadership will be questioned at every turn. Being able to inspect what you expect helps keep great teams pulling in the same direction and allows for pivots in real time. The Inspectations podcast brings together business leaders from all industries to talk about best practices, innovation, leadership, and business development. You're listening to the Inspectations podcast. Here's your host, Justin Starberg.
Welcome back to an exciting edition and episode of the Inspectations podcast. I am joined by the tag team. This is a first. We've never had everybody on, so I'm really curious to see where all this goes. So I have Director of Client Relations, first-time guest, Lauren Damon.
Good morning.
I have Project Manager, Jess Cummings.
Good morning.
Project Manager, Aaron Cobb.
Hello.
And Director of Creative Services for the tag team, Ryan Collette.
Hello.
So Ryan and Lauren, neither of you have ever been on a podcast before. At least, Jess and Aaron got started in the very first series, turning the tables and asking me, what is it like to join your first episode?
You got us.
Yeah. Feels like a lot of pressure. And this is something I'm not good at.
Well,
you knew exactly how to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is kind of a neat idea, though, in podcast for us, because Tag is recently going through our own, rebranding efforts. It's something that we've done, a multitude of times for our clients. And, Ryan, I guess, and Jess, you've been the longest here. What has it been like over the last, several months and even last couple of years as the business has changed and we started to see, a shift in how we do business?
Yeah, great question, Justin. Basically, for the past 10 or so years, we've been working together. It's, it's good to see the evolution a little bit. And yeah, especially on the visual side, it's exciting to kind of, look at that, give a different perspective, and refresh that over the past couple months.
Yes, what's it been like for you to be in the office nearly every day for the last 5 years and then, come up with a new, not only a new look, but, we've changed the business the last couple of years and even your role has grown.
Yeah, I think it's been great coming in, and I think our team has changed a lot. We have morning meetings to go through everything. Our process has changed. Kind of our teamwork has changed a lot. We're a lot better at communicating and, being together and working together. And I've been able to come out of my shell a little bit and take on some more roles and responsibilities. And, you kind of allow that to happen with different aspects of the business. I think it's been great.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've grown a lot. Everybody has kind of taken on more stuff. And, to your point, gotten a little out of your comfort zone. Aaron, you were a part of the team, years ago, and then you came back, more recently. What's been the difference been for you to see those changes?
It's been very exciting because at the start I was just doing a lot of the behind the scene lead generation, data, strictly is what it is kind of stuff. And I think that the way the business has changed now and grown, it's given us opportunities to try new things and do new things and be more creative. And I think that it's really shining right now.
Yeah. I also agree with that, and Lauren, you were part of the driving force to make some changes relative to how, Tag operates and how, how we look to our customers. What were some of the things that you felt were important as we, started out down this journey?
I mean, there's so much that's been important. I think where we were versus where we are today, there's been changes across every area of this company, from the way that, we all interact with each other to the work that we do and the opportunities that we've been given. We've really pushed ourselves out of comfort zones and what we knew, and we're constantly developing our strategies and developing ourselves. And I think there's just been this extreme amount of growth that's been allowed to happen, and explore a lot of different ideas and new stuff that we've all collectively come together to bring to life. And it's really promising to see what's going to happen next. Now that, I feel that we're all, really driving in the same direction, and have the support that we need to take on bigger projects and do more complex work. I wonder what the next 2 years is going to look like.
Yeah. Ryan, when you engage with a client, or, and we bring them on and they're like, hey, we want to do stuff. We want to make a change to our image. We want to, put our first image out there, hearing, what Lauren and Aaron and Jess have shared. What is it like for you to then take that and find a way to create a visual for it?
Yeah. So basically, with any rebranding or brand refresh, you kind of have 3 different steps you go through. You have the exploratory phase, the planning phase, where you gather all that information. So what does each employee think? Where have you been in the past, and where are you looking to go? With that also comes a lot of, competitor audits, brand research, industry research. Where are things trending on the branding side? So there's a lot of planning that goes into that. Once that's all boiled down, that's when kind of the fun stuff begins, and you can really start that creative process. And during that phase, we tend to take an approach where we'll provide with, the client with 5 to 7 logo design concepts to start. And that really provides them with enough direction to be like, hey, I know what I want. It's either, one of them nails it, or there's a few concepts from the options we provide that they love, and that we can kind of boil down into the next round. And after a little more back and forth, we kind of settle on the perfect design from there.
Yeah.
So that planning phase generally, creates enough inspiration for us to build out kind of that visual brand, or at least options for them to select from.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of what we did internally too. We've taken conversations just like this and said, okay, what does the company mean? It's funny because, of course, we tag the Aebli Group as an ode to and personal to me, and because of the an ode to a former mentor, and then each of my daughters share the middle name of Aebli, so it's a neat story. I think Jess, you mentioned the point of it being more personal now because you've seen that growth. When you're talking with clients about their story, what is it that you look for, or when you hear something you're like, hey, you know what, we need to incorporate that into another blog or another podcast, and let other people hear that?
I think it's really about culture, the culture within the company, how teams interact. And I think that our journey has really opened my eyes to realize those things. It's about the people within the company that make a company what it is. So, when I talk to clients and I see or hear how they interact, or stories that they tell, or, if they're out and about and having dinner together, we want to share that. So I think that's something that's really important that we do and that we add to clients.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. It's Lauren, you do a great job of helping them identify where they have potential opportunities to accentuate that culture. I can think of one of our clients out of Boston that, they have done, a couple series in and around employees. What are some of the things that you can share or have heard, about what that's done to pull them closer together?
Yeah, it's interesting to, have these processes that we apply to clients, because we find that's what best tells the story. We don't always apply those processes to ourselves as well in the past, but we are doing more of that, spending more time on telling the tag story. And it's really interesting to see those kind of things come together, where, for instance, the example that you're talking about, going through a series where we're interviewing employees about not just their role at the company and what they do and what their expertise is, but who they are and what they enjoy, and getting to know that person both inside the office and then outside of work. And I think that's so much more important even today, with a lot of these companies having remote employees. Not everyone gets to come into the office and meet each other and, talk at lunch, or catch up on what's going on in each other's families and those kind of things. It's really interesting to see what kind of personalities come out on those interviews that we're then able to share across the team, for people to get to know each other and bring a team together, even though they may be miles or thousands of miles apart at times.
Yeah, I want to do this whole thing again in a year after we're bringing on a new teammate from Montana, and it'd be interesting to get that perspective instead of others. So Aaron, you have to take a lot of this like employee culture and the ideas of what the business is and services, and for several of our clients, you do either the writing or you do some of the social aspects. And Jess, you do too. But how do you tie that together and come up with a social campaign or social strategy for companies?
I think right now something that we've been focusing on has been humanizing the companies that we're working with right now, which it creates more opportunities for connection between potential customers and the company. It gives them a real feel, and it gives them a deeper understanding, and it makes them feel more connected.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Can I just say this is like pretty neat to have us all on? I mean, I know we're missing some teammates, but this is where a lot of the magic happens. And Ryan, you have this gift for creating it in a visual format, both for ourselves and some of the work you've done for Tag relative to the website and images that are there, and then for our clients. You've talked a little bit about hearing what's important to them, but then what's your process for actually identifying themes that you go through, or a series of images, or collateral that you create for them? Do you do that on a client by client basis? I mean, I know the answer, but do you do that based on their requests? I mean, or you're the expert and you just give direction?
Yeah, I'll generally start just by gathering as much information from the client as possible when it comes to their expectations, both on the project scope side as well as the design side, especially if it's a first-time project, you're just getting your feet wet. But after you get to have done a few projects for the client, you get a better understanding for the right visual direction. You get a better understanding of the industry, of the competitors. And when creating any collateral, we go for a custom kind of unique approach for the most part. We try to eliminate any stock items. When you go online with any websites, ebooks, collateral full of stock imagery. It just doesn't give that personal impression, as Aaron mentioned. So creating unique designs that are memorable, identifiable, and on brand is important to us, and just making sure that they are unique, and it's something that we can kind of consider good quality work and take pride in and show other clients as well.
Yeah. How much insight do you take relative to like the technical direction and what you're able to boil down to the visual stuff? Like, if it's a high-tech company, do you treat them differently than if they're a service-based company, or is the process relatively similar?
Yeah, there's always a difference when you're dealing with different clients. And first and foremost, it is important that if you're dealing with a tech client, it looks somewhat on brand and technical. So you don't want to deviate too far from their comfort, as well as what their audience is looking for. So there is certainly a certain aspect of that. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's what I was going for. This is a relatively unique opportunity that we have here to, get out from behind, proverbial screen or out of our comfort zones to talk through some of the stuff that we do for our clients every day that we've now applied to TAG. I'm really proud of the work that you do. I'm proud of the people that you are. And, when we go out to, meet with prospects or go to trade shows, or I do, speaking gigs, like it's all because of the work that you've been able to do. I mean, I Jess and Lauren probably more than anybody, but you have to take the visions that I like put out there and put steps to them, to translate that to clients. Lauren, especially like in a meeting in person, and I go down a rabbit hole. You've done a great job of not pulling it back, but then saying, all right, yeah, he's talking about where we're going, and then these are the steps on how we get there. And so generally there's no pressure on you, right?
Right. So with that, what has it meant to you? I mean, what kind of created this refresh of the brand and TAG, and why? What's it been?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, for me, it was really important too when it came up, and then it started to gain momentum in the office that we should do something. Of course, my first call was to Ryan to say, "Holy smokes, we got something cooking here. What can you do to help us?" Because Ryan, you sit about 150 miles west of us, but what was so important is that over the last 2.5 to 3 years, we have completely altered, the business and how we run the business. So no longer are we working on projects that are, success based or, relatively short term, although we will do one-off projects. Everything now is based on a partnership with the prospective client, and to see them through whatever goals and campaigns strategy that they're looking to deploy. Oftentimes, we've especially now are working with companies that are ready to either scale up or put themselves in a position to be bought, or put themselves in a position to create processes so they can purchase other companies. And it was really important to me that the people, all of the company, had a say in how we put that out there. So it started last year when we put together a new website that explained all the services that we do. I mean, oftentimes, we wear a lot of different hats, but now we're able to break it down into individual service items. Then we're able to pull those service items together and actually create a formula that allows a client to tell their story. so, being able to refresh our site and refresh our logo to reflect those things was really vital. And then, Aaron, you made the point of humanization and making making clients feel more approachable. One of the elements of tag that I've always gotten is that, we're either too high end or we're too boutiquey, and it's difficult to get started until you meet us, until you meet the people that they're potentially working with. And so that was also important to make sure that, we're visible and that we do these sorts of exercises, whether it be through the podcast or, otherwise. So all those things were really important. And then the final step was really a concerted effort on treating tag as our own client. and making sure that we tell our story, making sure that we're writing our own blogs, that we're updating our own website, and those sorts of things. And that's inherently led to more opportunities, both with our existing clients to go deeper and wider because they say, "Oh, I didn't know you did that," as well as prospective clients who are looking for somebody that's not just going to set it and forget it. So I think all of those things kind of came to a head, and that's why today and these elements were so important to me.
So why a brand refresh instead of a brand new logo or brand?
I have 8 or 10 pairs of red shoes, and I didn't want to have to throw them away.
It all comes back to the shoes.
I mean, let's be honest. Sorry. I mean, I didn't want to. We've worked so hard to be known for who we are, and oftentimes red is part of that. So, I did consider, and I did throw it out there to change the shape or change the color scheme. But, you walk those shows, whether it be in Anaheim at MD&M West or, something in Boston or New York, even in Minneapolis, like, we walk in and red shoes, red belt, red lapel, you're often wearing red shoes as well, or some other, red accessory when we do that. And then, those things have become, part of who the company is. So, that was something that strongly considered, but ultimately came back to, that's become a really positive side of the identity of who we are. And I thought that we should, maintain that.
But also still refresh to communicate that the evolution of tag. It's, it's moving forward. It is something different than it was before, but we still have our roots in, everything that you developed almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah, we're going into year 10. This is very exciting, and I'm really proud. Proud of where we come from. Proud of the changes that were made. Proud to have said no to some projects that otherwise, maybe things would be different, but it was worth all of our peace of mind to move on. So I'm, pretty happy with the direction that we are in, where we're going, and what's to come. So, with that, I know you just did like a Uno reverse on me and got me talking there. Did I miss anything asking the 4 of you questions? Yeah, don't all speak at once.
I don't think so. It's an exciting time for tag. I think we're all in a really good place and looking forward to what's next. It's really cool to apply, some of these things that we do for our clients, to ourselves and experience that, help give a little bit of perspective. Yeah, thank you for being open to those changes and pushing it all in a positive direction.
And pushing us.
Mm-hmm.
Shoving you. This is where we're going. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I don't know if, I know that we're all reluctant to get on and do this, but it's really great to hear your answers, and I appreciate you just not blowing smoke up my rear end there, and that you do enjoy the work that we're doing. So thank you all for that. On behalf of Aaron Cobb, Jessica Cummings, Ryan Collette, and Lauren Damon, you've been listening to the latest episode of Inspectations.
You have been listening to the Inspectations podcast. On behalf of your host, Justin Starbird, and our guests today, thank you for listening. To learn more about the Inspectations podcast, our guest, or the Aebli Group, please visit us at www.aebligroup.com. Be sure to keep inspecting what you are expecting.